What's going on, everyone? You are welcome to Web Chrony Online YouTube channel. Today we are going to design this beautiful web page. This beautiful web page you see here is a prototype of a project I was working on last year, and today we are going to design the landing page. Now let me show you around before we begin. If I click on the register, it will take me to the register page. When I click on the login, it will take me to the login page, and when I click on the contact, it will take me to the contact page. Now this web page is also very responsive, so if I press F12, that is if you are using Chrome, if I press F12, this is how it shows on an iPhone 6, iPhone 7 or iPhone 8 Plus. Okay, so when I click on this menu icon, the menu will show right here, and when I click on this times icon, the menu will disappear like that. It looks very simple and beautiful, and that is what you and I are going to do today. Now let me also show you how it looks like on an iPad. So when I select this iPad, this is how it looks like. It looks very beautiful, and you and I will enjoy doing this. Since you already know what to do, if you are not subscribed, I am ready. Are you ready? Let's begin. Okay guys, so I have my Visual Studio Code up and running. I have an empty folder here called responsive. I'll go ahead and create my HTML and CSS file. So I'll click on this icon and call this one index.html, and then I'll also create my index.css. So inside the index.html, I'll bring in my template. I'll link my CSS file, so I'll select the CSS file. Now I'll create an H1 element and give it a random text of 5 words, and I'll click on the go live to show what we are doing. So this is what we have here so far. Let me close this tab, we don't need it, and let's take a look at the original project and then do a couple of configurations before we begin. So we have some icons right here that need to be included in our HTML file. Today we are using two different brands of icons. We will first of all use bootstrap icons, and we will also use fontawesome icons. So to do that, let's head on to cdnjs.com, and then once we are there, we can type the name of a CDN we are looking for. So for example, I'll type the bootstrap icons and then hit enter. Okay, so this is the bootstrap icons. I'll click on it like this, and once it is opened, I can go ahead and select the second one. So I'll click on this icon here to copy the link tag of this CDN, and then I'll come and paste it right here. I'll show you how this thing works for us in a moment, but let's go ahead and also do for the fontawesome. So at the same cdnjs.com, we will type fontawesome here, fontawesome like this, and we will select the first one. Great. Now that the first one has been selected, we want the first one, so I'll click on the second icon here which says copy link tag. Now that the link tag has been copied, I'll come back here and then paste it inside the head tag of my HTML like this. Now let me show you how these things work for us. So beginning with the bootstrap JS, we have icons right here, and let me for instance select this thumbs up icon right here. So when I click on it here, it will open on the next page, and if I want to use this icon in my web page, I'll have to type this thing right here. Okay, so I'll click on this icon so that it can copy the code for me, and then I'll paste the code inside here. Now let's see what we have. Now we have the hand right here. Okay, let me also move to the fontawesome, and let me select this magnifying glass here like this, and if I click on it like this and paste it in my HTML file like this, and then go to the page that we are working on, you can see the icon right here. So that is how we are going to do it. Okay, now let's also take a look at something. the fonts are different. Now I'll head over to Google Fonts, okay, by typing fonts.google.com. okay. Once I get there, I can search for any font of my choice. In this tutorial we will use the Roboto, and there is another one called PT Sans. If you can't find the PT Sans right here, we can type here to search for it. So I'll type PT Sans like this, and then this is what I'm looking for. So I'll click on the PT Sans here, and I will select the regular 400. Then let me go back and then select the Roboto. So Roboto, where are you? Let me just cancel this one here and then select the Roboto. Now I have the Roboto. I will select the Roboto 300 here. I've already selected the 400, and I have selected the 500 as well, and 700 too. Now there are two ways we can use this thing here. As you can see, we have been given a link tag. We can copy this link tag and then paste it in our HTML file, or we can select the @import so that we can copy this one and paste it in our CSS file. I don't know why I always prefer the CSS part, so I'll just copy this thing right here, and then I will paste it in my CSS file like this. Okay, now that I've pasted this in my CSS file, I think it is now time to have our default style for all elements on our web page. So I'll type my asterisk followed by my opening and closing curly brackets. I'll select the font family to be PT Sans, so I'll type my PT Sans like this, and if in case it doesn't work, I want to use the sans serif like this. So let's look at our web page right now. As you can see, the font has changed nicely, and I think yeah, so I'll go ahead and remove padding, set it to 0. I'll also set margin to 0. I'll set box sizing to border box, and I'll set text decoration to none. So now let me take my time to explain to you. The reason why I want to do this is because I received a recommendation from one of you that I should make time to explain what is happening. Okay, so that is exactly what I'm going to do today. I just want to thank you guys for showing this support, and I want to also let you know that your feedback matters to me a lot. Okay, so now we have changed the font family, and all the elements that are text element will assume this particular font family. But because we are picking this font family from the internet, we have to give it a fallback font family. Okay, so that if in case we are unable to load this PT Sans, we can fall on the sans serif. The sans serif is, you know, something that HTML comes with. Okay, so yeah, then we don't want any space inside an element unless we set it ourselves. We want to override the browser's automatic padding it assigns to certain containers. Okay, and then the margin to which is the space around the element, we want to set it by ourselves. Then also we have set box sizing to border box, so that if in case we add padding to a particular element, it will be calculated within the dimensions that we have set for it. Then also sometimes when you have certain text element, they are underlined. Example, the anchor tag, we don't want that to happen. If there should be an underline, we want to set it by ourselves, but by default we don't want it to be underlined. Okay, so now that we have cleared all this out of the way, I think we should begin the actual work. Now let's see the project that we will be working at and see how best we can go by it. So first of all, I have this header right here. Inside the header there is a left container and a right container. So the left container contains an icon and then a text which says company, and the right container contains a search box and some links. Okay, so let's do that at the moment. So I'll have my header right here. Inside my header I'll have my header left container. I can simply say header left, and then I will also have my header right, so header right. So inside the header left there is an icon. Okay, so let me head over to the Bootstrap icon, and then the icon we are using is called brightness, so I'll type bright here, and then this is the one that I'm looking for, so I'll click on this one here, and then I'll copy this one here, and then I'll paste it. I'll give it an extra class name of logo icon. Then I'll have an h1 element with the text company. I will give it a class name of logo test. Great. So let's see what we have so far. Okay, we have our icon right here, and then the test company also here. Now let's look at the right side. So the right side, we will have a form that will contain the search input and this icon, followed by this anchor tag. So let's do that. So inside the right container, I will have my search form, and inside this search form I will have an input with the class name search input, and then we will also have an icon. So let me head over to the Bootstrap icon here, and then look for search, and then I'll select this one here, and then copy this one and paste it right here, and I'll give this one an extra class that says search icon. So we have our input and then our icon. Let's see. Yes, it is right there. Let's look at something here. We have this placeholder that says search, and then the icons will follow. So let's do that. I'll give this input a placeholder, inside the right container, under the closing tag of the search form, I'll have a nav like this, and inside this nav I'll have some anchor tags, and I'll call this one header links. So inside this one I'll have home. Then let me duplicate it some more times. So let's see, after home we have register, login, and contact. So register, login, and contact. Great. So now let's see what we have done so far. It doesn't look really nice, but only time will tell. So let's begin the styling. So inside my CSS, I'll first of all split the screen into two. So I'll have my H1 here. I want the H1 to take the Roboto font family, so I'll copy this one here and paste it here, and then I'll change this one to the Roboto. So I'll copy the Roboto from here, and then I'll paste it right here. So let's see. Great. So first of all, I'll start the header. I'll copy my header right here and paste it here. Inside the header, I'll set height of 60 pixels, width of 100, view width. Then I'll set display to flex, align items at the center, and I'll set justify content to space between, like this. Now let's see our result. So we have our left right here, and then the right here. Of course I should set some padding left and right, so I'll give a padding of 50 pixels but I don't want it at the top and bottom because the align item center will do that for us. So we have our padding right here, and that's very good. Great. So as and when we need to get back here, we will do something with it. So let's move on to the header left. So I'll copy it right here, and then I will paste my header left here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to set a display of flex, and let's see. We have display of flex. I want them to be on the same line at the center, so I'll set the align item center. So AIC will do that for me. Let's see. Great. Now they are all centered, and I want some gap. Let's look at the gap here. I think 15 will be fine. So let's see. I'll set a gap of 15. So I'll type G15 like this, and well, it is fine. Let's increase the font size of this icon here. Let's see, and then we will also change the font weight of this text right here. So I will copy the logo icon like this, and then I will paste it right here. So with the logo icon, I will increase the font size to 55, and let's see if 55 is okay. 55 is too much. Let's make it 45. Okay, 45 is okay. I think the space is too much, so we reduce it to 10, and then we change the font weight of the text to about 400 or 300. So let's reduce the gap from 15 to 10, and then let's copy the logo text right here, and then paste it here like this, and then I will set the font weight to 400. Let's see how it will be like. So font weight of 400 is okay. Okay, this one is very faint, so let's change it to 300 and see if it will work for us. Okay, 300 is very good. Now let's move to the right side of the header. So I'll copy the header right, and the header right will also have a display of flex, and then align items will be at the center. Now I want to set a gap between the search form and the nav container, so I'll set a gap of about 10 pixels. Let's see. Okay, this is good. Now let's begin by styling the search form. So I'll copy the search form right here. Don't forget to bring the full stop, it's very important. So I'll set display to flex, AIC, which is align item center. I want to give the form container a border, so I'll set border to 1.5, or okay, 1.4 is fine. Pixels solid gray, but this time I want to give it a color code of 555. So we have the border set around the container, which is very okay. Let's give it a height of 45 pixels. Let's give it a padding of 10 pixels like this, and see what is happening. 45 is too much. Let's make it 40. 40 is okay. Now let's increase the border to about 1.8 pixels. Let's see. 1.8 is okay. Look at this one, is very deep. This is fine. Let's give it a border radius of about 8 pixels. So border radius of 8 pixels, so that it will have round corners. So yes, we want some space between this and this. Okay, so let me set a gap of 10 pixels between the input and the icon. That's good. Now what I'm going to do next is that I want to remove the border around the input and also the outline. So I will copy the search input, then I will paste it here, and I'll set border to none, and I'll also set outline to none. So let's see. Yes. Then let's see something here. Well, I want to add some new thing here by bringing a border here in between the search input and the icon here. So let's do that. I will have a border right, so border right of 1.5 pixels solid gray with color code 555, like this. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look bad, but let's make it a bit deeper. So 1.8, just as the main border on the form is, should work just fine for us. By the way, I will set the nav, I'll set the display to flex, AIC center. I want a gap of 10 pixels between the element inside the nav, so we have it right there. Then let's take the header links, copy the header links like this. I will paste it here, and then I'll set the color to 555. I'll set the text transform to capitalize the first letter of each link. I'll give a font size of 16 pixels. Let's see what we have done so far. Okay, it's not bad. Let's look at this one. The font size is bigger than we have here, so let's change it from 16 to about 18. Okay, I think it is good. All right. Yeah, let's look at this one. It's not bad. Okay, cool. Now let's move on to this part of the project, which is this place. So we will have a main container right here, so I'll just collapse the header like this, and under the closing header container I will create a section, and I'll give this section a class name of intro, like this. In fact, let me add container to it, intro container, like this. Now inside the intro container I will have a top container, so dot intro top container, and inside the intro top container there is an icon. So let me come back here and copy this icon. So I'll type brightness, and this is it. I'll copy it right here, and then I'll paste it in here, and I'll have an h1 with a class name logo test. But don't forget, we already have some logo text, so let's add the intro to it so that it will distinguish it from the rest. So like this, and then I'll type company name. Now let's see. So we have it right here, and then the next thing we are going to do, okay, I'm done with this one. This one can go, this one can also go. And then let me just copy this one. I will have an h2 with the text intro test, and then I'll paste this one right here, and I'll have a button. So a button with a class name intro-btn with the text get started. Now let's see. So I'll first style the intro container, so I'll copy the intro container like this. Now I'll give it a height, but this time around we will set the height in a different way. Now I'll have what we call calculate, like this, CALC then I'll bring into bracket. Inside the bracket, what I'm going to do is that I can calculate the height based on the view height. Okay, so for example, I want 50 view height like this, and I want to subtract 30 pixels from it, so like this. And let me give it a background color, so BG of black, so that we can see what we are doing here. Now we have it right here. Now the color is not that deep black, so I will change this one to, let's say 333. Let's see. Then I want to set the color to white in here, so let's see, the color is white. The background color doesn't look perfect to me, so let me bring it somewhere here, and then something like this should be fine. Oh, this is too light, it should be dark. It's still light. Okay, I think this is fine, this is okay. So now let's go ahead and style it. So I'll set the display to flex like this. I'll set flex direction to column like this. I'll set align item center and then justify content to center, so that everything will be at the center. That's very good. Now let's start the top one. So, and then I will paste it here. Now I'll set the display to flex. I'll set AIC, and let's look at the gap between the gap. Okay, there is no gap, but in this one we will give a gap of about 5 pixels, so gap of 5 pixels should be fine. Then let's give this one an extra class name of intro icon, so that we can style that one too. So I'll copy this like this, and then I'll paste it here. So inside this one, I'll give it a font size of 50 pixels, and then I'll copy this logo text right here. Let's look at it, how it looks like. It has been capitalized, and the font size should match the icon, so let's do that. 45. I think the size of the icon is too small. Let's make it 60 and see. So 60 is not bad. Let's work on this one. So we are working on the logo text in the intro, so I'll set the font size to 60 pixels to match the icon, and then I will also set the text transform to capitalize like this. Good. Now let's give some margin bottom on the container, not the text but the container. So the intro top container, I'll give a margin bottom of 15 pixels. Okay, which is okay, it's cool. Okay, now let's also deal with this one. So with this one, I'll copy the intro text like this, and then paste it right here. I will give a font width of 500, and then a margin bottom of 20 pixels. Now let's see. Okay, this is cool, it's good. Now let's style the button. So I'll copy the intro btn. Now I'll remove the border, so I'll set border to none. I'll give a height of 40 pixels. I'll give a padding of 10 pixels. I'll change the background color to white, and I'll change the text color to this one right here, to this one. So I'll paste it right here. Now let's see. I'll give it a border radius, increase the font size, and then also change it to, I'll change the cursor to pointer, and this padding to, I'll change the left and right. So let's do that. So padding left and right, let me add 20 here. Let me change the font size to about 18 pixels. I'll change the cursor to pointer. Now let's see. Okay, we will increase the font weight and then also change the text transform. So let's increase the font weight to about 600, and then let's give a border radius of about 6 pixels. Okay, now the text transform. So text transform to capitalize. Now let's see. The font size looks small to me, so I'll change it to 20. And then instead of giving it a height of 40 pixels, I'll set it to fit content like this. Good. Okay, I think the height for this one is bigger than ours. Let's see what is happening here in the header. Okay, let's try 70 pixels and see. Okay, I think it's better now. Good. Now let's move on to this one right here. We'll call this one services. Okay, so we have a service container, and then each service will come. So let's do that. I will collapse this one. I'll create another section, give it a class name of service container. Then inside it, I'll have a service, and each service will have an icon, a title, and description. So let's do that. I will come here. The first icon is a folder trying to share something, so let's see. I'll type here folder. Let me add a hyphen here so that, well, I'm not seeing any folder that looks like this. Let me search it from the fontawesome 2 and see. Let's type folder like this. We don't see anything that looks like this, but I think we can use either this or this. Okay, but well, let's take this one right here. I will copy it and then paste it here, and I'll give it an extra class name of service icon. Let's see. Okay, that is it right here. Now I'll have a title which says share teaching resources, so I'll copy this one here, and I'll have my H1. I'll give it a class name of service title, and I'll paste this one in here, and I'll have a paragraph which says service description, and this one will have lorem of, let's say, 25 words like this. So let's see. Okay, we have it right here. Now let's copy it 3 more times. I'll just collapse this one, select it like this, and then Shift Alt and then down arrow will do the rest for us. So let's see. Now let's change the icons. So we have cash in hand. Okay, so I'll copy this one and then I'll paste it here, the title. So second one will have this one. Let's type here money, and then let's see. Okay, this looks like this one. This looks like it. This one is coins, this one is dollar, but at least it is fine. So I'll copy it here. I will paste it here, but don't forget the extra class name, which is service icon, like this. Now let's move on to the third one. The title is get help, like this, and then let's paste the get help here. And then let's head over to this place and then type help. Help. Okay, this looks better. So this time around I'll just copy this one, and then paste it here. Now let's see what we have. Okay, we have the help there, and then the last one is a smiling face. So let's come here and then type smile. This looks better, and let's copy. Okay, no, not just everything, but let's copy this one, and then here we will paste it here like this, and then we will change the title to easy work life, like this. Easy work life. Okay, now let's see what we have. Okay, cool. Now let's begin the styling. So I'll copy the service container right here, and then the first thing I'm going to do is to set the display to flex. I'll set the align items to the center, and then the justify content, I'll set it to space around, like this. So we have it right here. Now let's also give it a height. I want it to have a minimum height of the height that we set for this one. So let's come here and set a minimum height. So minimum height, we will set the calculate like this. We will set the 50 view height minus 35 pixels. So this one we have to set it to 35, and the reason is that we have increased the height of the header. Okay, so let's share it to the service and then the intro. So this one too should be 35, like this. So that will be my minimum height for the service container, and let's see what is happening. Great, now we have it right there. Now we are going to start, we have to give it a padding. Okay, so we should have some padding. We gave a padding of 50 pixels here. I think we should do same for this one. So let's have a padding of 50 pixels like this. Okay, now it looks good. And let's also give a gap. So a gap of about 20 pixels around the element like this. Great. Now let's also set the flex wrap so that we can have our responsive design very easily. So flex wrap, I will set it to wrap like this. Great. Now that we have set the wrap, we should have the service styled like this. So I'll have a minimum weight of 300 pixels and a maximum weight of 350 pixels. Let's see. So as you can see, now that we have set the weight for it, it has shifted this one to the next line. Okay, I think it's too much. Let's change it to 250. No, let's change the max weight. Let's comment out this one and see what is going on here. Okay, let's set a flex of 1. Okay, good. So this is it. Now let's take a look at something here. The moment we click to change the screen size, the things will also adjust like that. Do you get it? So now let's also start the service. So I'll give it a display of flex. I'll give a flex direction of column. I'll set AIC to center and then JCC to center as well. Now let's see. Okay, now everything is in the middle. Let's start the icon. So I'll come here and copy the service icon. I'll give a font size of about 50 pixels. I'll give margin bottom of 12 pixels. Now let's look at it. Then let's compare to the original one. Okay, this is not bad. Now let's also start the title. So I'll copy the service title here. Let's take a look at the original one. The font size is normal and then the border bottom. Okay, let's look at the original one. So this is it. It also has some margin at the bottom. So let's do that. Okay, so I'll give a margin bottom of about 12 pixels. I'll change the font weight to about 500. Let's see. Okay, 500 is better. And the font size, I think the font size is fine. So the font size is okay. Now let's move on to the footer. So I'll type my footer here. Inside the footer, let me show you the main page. So the footer, we have 3 sections, 1, 2, 3 like this. Let's see. So I'll have my dot footer item container. I'll copy 2 more times so that we will have 3. Now inside this one, we will have a heading and then the services will follow. So I have my header and the rest will follow. So let's do that. I'll have an H1 which says footer header, and this one will have a footer header of services. So services, and then I will have a UL like this. Inside the UL I'll have an LI like this, and I'll just copy service 1 like this. I'll copy it some more times, so this will be 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then the second one we will have contact, so let's do that. I will have an h1 dot footer header like this, and I'll call this one contact, and I'll have a UL. I'll have a container inside here, so I'll call it social container, and inside the social container I'll have some icons here, so let's look at them. We have WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then an envelope. So let's come here. Okay, I think we should use this one, Font Awesome. So let's begin with WhatsApp. I'll copy this one and paste it here. Then I'll move on to Facebook. And with the Facebook, I like this one. Let's look at the original one. Okay, so I'll pick this one, copy and paste. Then the next one is Twitter. So let's take our Twitter, and with the Twitter I'll pick this one, copy and paste. Then I'll take Instagram, and with the Instagram, let's look at what we did. Okay, we use the outline like this. I'll copy and paste, and then finally the envelope. So I'll type here envelope, and I'll copy this one and paste it here. We will have another one which is call in, and then the location. So I'll have my LI like this, and inside the LI I'll have my call in. This time around let's use the bootstrap. So I'll type here call, and I'll select this one. I'll copy it here and I'll paste it here. Then I'll type a number here 0544006865. Then we will have another one, LI, which will be location. So I'll type location inside the search right here, location, and then with the location I'll select this one. I'll copy and paste it here, and I'll have the location copied. So let me copy this one here and paste it right here. Now I also have important site. I'll copy this one here like this, and then I will paste it inside. Okay, I'll copy this one and then paste it over it, and then I will hold Alt, select these ones, and I'll call this one site. Okay, like this, and I'll change this one to important sites. So let's see. Now everything is there. What we are going to do now is to style it. So let's get to the CSS. I'll get my footer right here. I'll give it a width of 100 fill width. I'll set the display to flex. I'll set align items this time around not to center but to start, and then I'll set the justify content to space around. Great. Now let's give it a background color that looks like this. So I'll have my background. So I'll bring this one somewhere here, and then maybe I'll select the color is not perfect. But we'll manage. I think the old one was better. We will manage this one like that. That's when there is the need for us to change, we will change. So I'll set the color to white. So let's see. Okay, cool. Now let's start the footer items. So I'll copy this one here and then paste it right here. I'll set the display to flex. I want flex direction to be column. I will set align items to center. Let's see. Okay, cool. Now as you can see, we have some dot here. I don't want them, so I'll go to the default style for all elements, and I'll set list style to none like this, so that I will not bother dealing with them one after the other. I don't want them there at all, so they are all gone. Cool. Now we should give some padding inside the footer. So inside this footer, I'll give a padding of 20 pixels. Okay, good. Now let's work with the headers and then the link, the list items. So I'll copy the footer header. I'll change the font size to about 18 pixels. I'll change the font width to about 600. I'll give a margin bottom of about 12 pixels, and let's see. I'll also give a text transform. So let's do this. Text transform to capitalize. 18 is too small. Let's make it 22. Why don't these things have the footer header? Okay, let's make this one R, and then let's add the R here too. Great. Now let's start the LIs, or the list items. So I'll type let me give this one a class name. Actually, I should have given the class name earlier, but no worries, we will have a way of dealing with it. So I have my dot footer container, a UL, and then LI. I'll give a font, I'll give a margin bottom of 10 pixels like this. Let's see. And then of course, if it was a real project, it should have been a link. Okay, so let's give a cursor of pointer. So if you hover on it, it should be a pointer. Okay, which is fine. Now let's do with this one right here. So I'll copy the social container, and the first thing that I'm going to do is to give a margin bottom of 10 pixels. Now what I'm going to do is I'll set display to flex. I'll set AIC, which is align items center. I'll give a gap of 5 pixels around the icons in there. Since 5 pixels is too small, so let's make it 10. 10 is okay for now. Let's now change the icons in them. Okay, so I'll just bring my cursor here, hold the Alt, bring it here and here, and finally here, and then I'll say footer icon like this, so that I can style them as well. So I'll copy the footer icon, I'll paste it here, I'll increase the font size to about 22 pixels. Let's see, 22 pixels should have come. Sorry, should be font size like this, and it should be pixel. Okay, I think it's fine. And then let's change the cursor to pointer. So cursor to pointer like this. I think it's okay. The footer is fine. So now it's time to work on the responsiveness of this site. Don't go away. Okay guys, so this is what we have done so far, but before we continue, I'd like to make a couple of adjustments to our page so that we can work with it in a responsive manner. So for example, as you can see from here, there's this scroll to the left and right. I don't want it, so I'll make some adjustments. So the first thing that I'll adjust is the padding that I set to this container here, because it is the reason why we are having this scroll down here. Okay, we head to the service container and change the padding from 50 to 20 like this. Then also I'll get rid of this one, and then I will uncomment this one. Now let's see. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is that I will set a maximum width for the body container, and then I'll make sure that any extra width is hidden. So I'll go to the top, under the closing curly bracket of the default styles for all elements, I'll type body. I'll set a max width of 100 VW, and I'll set overflow X, which is the horizontal scroll, to hidden. So let's see, now the scroll to the left and right is gone. Now let's begin by styling the header and make it responsive. So I will have inside the header container, I'll create an input right here of type checkbox. So I'll have my input here, and it will have the type checkbox like this, and I'll give it an ID of check. Now let me give it something that will be clicked to check and uncheck. So at the top I'll have a label, and this label will be for the check, so I'll type the check here. Now if in case you don't give the ID of check, whatever ID you typed here should be here. All right, then I will have my menu icon here. So let me go to the bootstrap and then look for the menu icon. So I'll type here and I'll type bars. Okay, I didn't get anything for bars. Let me type menu. And okay, let me look for one in the font awesome. I think font awesome has something really nice, so I'll type bars like this, and this is the bars that I'm looking for. So I'll click on this one and then click on it to get my bars. I'll then paste the bars here, and because of the label folder has been set to check, when I click on the bar, it should be able to check the checkbox for me. So let's see. I have my bar here. I click, it checks. I click, it unchecks. Okay. So when we are on full screen, I don't want this and this to show. And as a matter of fact, no matter what the screen size, I don't want this one to show. So I'll come to the style, this container. So I'll just come here, type my hash, followed by the word check, which is for ID, and then I'll set the display to none. So I'll just type DN and set display to none. Okay, I'll also set the icon, this icon here. I'll also want to set it to hidden. Okay, I don't want it to show, so I will come here and give it an extra class name of menu icon. So I'll come here, bring my full stop, menu icon like this. I don't want them to show, so the menu icon should go as well. Menu icon. Okay, I think I should give the class to the label instead. So I'll set the label, class for the label, and I'll paste it here. Now let's see. Now it is also gone. Now I want this thing to only show when the screen size is small. So I'll press F12 to open the developer console. Okay, now let me select the iPad and then we use the dimensions of the iPad. Okay, so at the iPad level, this is the dimensions. We will add one to it and then we set it as our media query. So under this thing, I will bring the @ symbol followed by the keyword media, and then a bracket. Inside the bracket, I will set a max width of this one, increase it by 1, and then add pixel like this. Now any styling instructions that I write here will only apply when the screen width is less than these pixels we have set right here. Okay, so for example, if I call the header and I say the header should have a background color of, let's say, red. Now let's see what happens. Now it has that red thing. Okay, if I change the dimensions to responsive, you see that now it is white. If I scroll and it reaches that level, it is now red. Bring it back, it is white. Okay, so that is how the media query works. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is that at this point I don't want the nav to show. I'll set the nav to display none. So at this point we shouldn't show any nav like this. Now the nav is gone. Okay, but I don't just want the nav to go, I want the right container. Okay, so let me bring dot header, so everything should go like that. And then at this point I want the menu icon to show, so I will type the menu icon and I'll set the display to inline block, not flex but inline block. like this. So at this point the menu is showing, but I want to increase the font size of the menu, so I'll set the font size to 22 pixels like this. Okay, let me increase this one to about 75%. I think it's still small. Let's make it 35. Okay, it looks better now, and when I click it, it will check the distance. But what I'm going to do is that when I click on it, I want to display the header right. Okay, so I will say, don't forget that the ID we set for the checkbox is check. Okay, so I'll type my check here, but this time around not a full stop but a hashtag. I'll follow it with a column and I'll say checked. That is when this thing is checked. I'll type this thing. I don't know what this thing is called. If I remember, I will tell you, or perhaps write the name for you. It can be accessed with the shift and then the key between the escape and then the tab. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'll call the header right again, and this time around I'll set the display to block like this. Now let me explain to you what this thing does. We have a checkbox with the ID checked. Now we are saying that if it is checked, apply this stars to whatever element we have over here. So let's see what happens if I click on it. Now it is there. If I click on it, it is gone. If I click, it comes. If I click, it is gone. Do you get it? Cool. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to start this thing here and make it, you know, appear like we have over here. So let me show you something here. So if I click like this, it will come. Okay, so let's do that. Now I will set the height. I'll first of all remove this one. We will bring it back later. I'll set the height of this to 100. Let's calculate it. Calculate 100 view height minus 70 pixels like this. I'll set the position to absolute, so that I'll set the top to 70 pixels and then the right to 0. Now let's see. I also give it a width, so width of about, let's say 50% of the total width of the screen, BG of, let's say, red like this. So let's see. As you can see, it's right there. Okay, cool. Now what we are going to do is that we want the nav items to display block. Okay, so let's come here. I'll call the nav like this, and I'll set the flex direction to column. Now let's see. Okay, cool. Now let's give the header right padding of 20 pixels on the side, and then 50, yeah, 20 pixels is fine for all size. Okay, good. Now let's see. Let's change the background color from this to white. Okay, good. Now let's give this thing here, as you can see, there is some space here that needs to be taken care of. So I'll come to the search form like this. Under here, I will paste it here, and then I'll set the justify content to space between. So let's see. Now we have it right there, but I want this one to come to this side. So I'll copy the search input and give it a width of 100%. Now let's see. Okay, I think it looks better now. Now inside the search form, let's give a margin bottom of about 20 pixels like this, and inside the nav, let's also give a gap of, let's say, 10 pixels. Let's see. Okay, good. Now let's bring it back here and set the display to none. So we click, it is gone. We click, it comes. We click, it is gone. We click, it comes. Like this, as simple as that. Okay, cool. Now let's get back to this part. Now, to keep things on a safer side, it is always a good idea to give this one a padding. Okay, so let's head to the intro container and give a padding of 50 like this. Great. And also let's make sure that the text are in the center. Okay, already we have set the align items in the center, so it is okay at the moment, but at this point let's make this one okay. Let's look at this one. Okay, I think that's okay for now. So let's see what is happening here. We should change the font size and also the height. Okay, so at this point inside our media query, what we can do is that we can change the height of the intro container to fit content. Okay, so I'll say height to fit content. Then also the intro logo text. For example, let me take the intro container like this, intro top container, and paste it right here. I'll set the font size of the text inside to 1 rem like this, so that it will calculate the font size according to the size of the screen. Okay, then let me change the logo text, the font size of the logo text. I think I should bring this one rather here. Okay, 1 is too small. Let's make it 1.7. Okay, 1.7 is okay. Yeah, it's okay. And this one is already working because it set the flex wrap to wrap. Okay, so let's see this one. As we increase, it's working perfectly. It works perfectly. And this also works perfectly. Let's come here. We move like this. It works perfectly. As we reach there, it changes. We click, it shows. We click, it disappears. Come back here like this. You get it? Yeah. So now it's left with the footer. So with the footer, what I'll do is that I'll come here inside the footer container. I'll set the flex wrap to wrap. Okay, and the footer container, footer item container, I'll set a minimum width of 300 pixels like this. So let's see, and now it works perfectly. So at this point, what we can do is to increase the space between them when we are in a smaller screen. So let's see something. It works perfectly. It works perfectly like this. Bring it back. It's still working perfectly. We still have it right here. We scroll down. Now this one goes. Oh shit. Now this also works perfectly. Now this is also fine, and this is also fine. So I'll increase the gap between them. So inside our media query. I will bring in the footer item container and maybe set a margin bottom of 20 pixels like this. Now let's see. Yes, I think it's okay. Guys, so what do you think? We have created our responsive listing, but I will also change the padding on the side. Okay, so I will bring in I'll go to the header. Okay, I think I didn't bring the header, so let me bring the header, and I will set padding to 15 pixels on the side, and then the top and down will be 0. So let's see. Yeah, I think this is better. So I click, it comes. Someone will say enye wanwa wanwa enye wanwa wanwa. Okay guys, so yeah, we've tried, we've tried. Okay guys, so this is where we end today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, kindly leave a like on this video. Let me know what you think of this tutorial and what to see next in a subsequent tutorial. The last time I posted the Facebook design, my very good friend Pius posted that we should work on Instagram, and that is exactly what we are going to do after this tutorial. So if you don't want to miss out, I have the link to my WhatsApp group in the description. Go check it out and join the platform. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss out my next tutorial. Until we meet again, peace out.